Okay, we are recording and I'm going to allow everybody in. Oh, goodness. Awesome. We've got lots of people joining us today. This is fantastic. We'll wait just another minute in case anyone is still logging in, and then we'll get going.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
I have two children. Are they different presentations or is this for everybody?
It's the same. So yeah,
Okay,
just one presentation at two different time slots for people to be able to join in.
perfect. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Okay, well, we will just dive right in since it's 3:02. Thank you so much for joining us today. This is a great response to have over 100 of you here today. I just want to start by introducing myself. My name is Carrie Moy, and I'm one of the principals here at Texas Tech K-12. And I'm really excited to introduce you to our superintendent who has joined us, Dr. Bayard, and I'll hand it over to you.
Thank you, Dr. Moy. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Robert Bayard. I am so excited to have the opportunity to serve as the superintendent for Texas Tech K-12. Just want to share a little bit of my background and why I joined this magnificent organization. For the past 2 years, I've served as a consultant working with school districts and the Texas Association of School Administrators. I'm really engaging in school transformation, program evaluations, and curriculum upgrades. Before that, I left my previous job. I was the deputy superintendent in Clear Creek ISD, just outside of the Houston area. My career started as a math teacher. I taught seventh grade through AP statistics. I was a math coach slash math specialist, developing curriculum assessments and working with teachers. That led me to a position as dean of instruction. It was an academic role, academic administrator role, opening up a new high school. Then I had an opportunity to be the executive director of assessment and evaluation. And then another left turn into the technology world as the chief technology officer. So when I left my last position as deputy superintendent, I often told people that if I were to get back into public education, it would have to be for the right reason in the right place. And I found that here in Texas Tech K-12. I love what this offers for students. I wish this was an option when I was in school or for my niece and nephews and some of my family members who loved to participate in extracurricular organizations. And my nephew, for example, will probably end up being a professional soccer player one day, hopefully. But this could have been a huge option for him. So I am here to ensure that our student experiences are the best that they can receive in an asynchronous online environment, to allow them to participate in opportunities that they might not be able to otherwise in a brick and mortar school, as well as providing for schools that need programs like Texas Tech K-12. Sorry, not like Texas Tech K-12. They need us to support them with additional coursework and teachers so that students can be successful in their schools. So I am happy to be here. I have a full team here of excitement, of ready to welcome students into the next school year. And I'm glad you're here to join us as well. Please be on the lookout. I will soon be sending out an email through our communications channel asking for participants to partner with me in an open house so I can learn about the strengths and challenges from the parent perspective. I'm already hearing a lot. I've visited with about 30 individuals, one-on-ones within the organization. So I'm here for all the opportunities for improvement, taking a great school and making it even better. And my goal is to make it the best in the United States. So thank you, and I wish you a wonderful year. You have joined a wonderful organization. If this is your first time in Texas Tech K-12, you will find that your advisors, teachers, and administrators are here for your students and here for the success of your students. So thank
Thank
you
you,
and
Dr.
have a wonderful
Bayard.
afternoon. And I hope this is beneficial for all of you.
Thank you so much. I also want to just basically reinforce what Dr. Bayard said. We have a wonderful group of advisors here today. If you're already enrolled, you've probably already worked with them, but these are definitely your experts in all things for the program. And so with that being said, I'm just going to turn it over because they're really the ones who know what's going on.
Thank you, Dr. Moy. Thank you, Dr. Bayard. Okay, so I'll go ahead and get started. My name is Charlotte Ward. I serve those students that are Alpha A and B. And we'll have a slide that'll pop up here in just a minute that will show our other advisors. Before we get to that, I just want to also point out that parents can also access our website to view all of our staff. We have pictures and bios for all of our faculty, including our teachers, where you can view those. If students need to be able to put a face to a name, that information is available. We'll get started with our agenda just real quickly. Each of our advisors that will be present this afternoon will go over these different topics. I'll start with kind of introducing the advising team and go over some initial processes and expectations and some frequently asked questions that we have. If we can go ahead and go to the next slide. So yep, that'll work. So the advising team, we generally are broken up into 6 alpha distributions. We currently are down to 5 right now, and so we have a temporary plan in place while we're in the middle of transition. But again, my name's Charlotte Ward. I am the lead counselor and academic advisor here at Texas Tech K-12, and I serve those students that are A and B alphabet and some special project students. We also have Taylor Silvis with us this afternoon, who serves those students whose alpha is C and D. And she is also in the middle of working with our TWC students that are in transition. Taylor Fierro serves those that are alphabet E through J. And she is also our student council representative. And so those of you that are in STUCO, that's who you're dealing with, is Ms. Fierro. The students that were under our previous advisor, Ms. Rhodes, if your alpha is U through Z, you actually are going to temporarily work with Ms. Fierro. So you should have already received that communication from her. And you'll need to just visit with her, getting yourselves enrolled for classes if you've not done so already. And then Ms. Perez will serve students that are K through N alpha, and she will also be assisting temporarily those students that were served previously by Ms. Rhodes that are alphabet S through T. And she's also our military liaison. And so if you are a military family, you can reach out to Ms. Perez for support and additional information. And then Shelley Montgomery, who's not with us this afternoon right now, but she does serve our students that are O through R alpha. And so you should have, if you're a current student or have just recently enrolled, you should have already had some communication with your advisors for your fall classes. And those of you that might be joining us that are maybe just recently, like just submitted your application and are waiting, your advisor will be in touch with you pretty soon. So we'll go ahead and get started with the next set of information. So we're going to go over some processes and expectations that will help your student be successful. Step 1, because this is an online asynchronous program, it's important for students and their parents to make a plan. We want to make sure that you are creating a weekly or a daily goal of set tasks and assignments. The courses themselves will have some information from teachers about setting yourself up for success like that. But the best thing is for you to also make sure that you have your own calendar where you create that plan. And then we also recommend sticking to that schedule so that you can complete on time. Your schedule for your classes will be available to you in your Focus account once those are once the start date opens up, and you can always see the start and end date for courses in that screen, and our advisors will actually have a screenshot of that to show you here in a little bit. And then always make sure that you're planning ahead. A very, very important thing to remember is that teachers are allowed 2 business days to grade, and that does not include weekends and holidays. And so if you are a student who's running into needing to take care of some assignments you've fallen behind in, you've got to make sure that you get caught up and that you are considering that timeline. Don't wait until last minute, and be sure that you're submitting those assignments on a weekly basis so that you're not submitting large numbers of assignments, expecting teachers to grade those, because they just do not have the ability to do that much grading. So we ask that you make sure you plan ahead. And then make sure that you're monitoring progress. There is a way to monitor your child or your student's progress on a daily basis. We'll go over that specific screen here shortly. It's important that if you are the parent or guardian of your student, you're not just assuming that they're working, that you're actually logging in. There is a way for you to connect your parent focus portal to your student's portal so that you can actually see that they're logging in. You can see their grades. You can see the progress report and their activity. Okay, so let's go to the next slide, and we'll look at some frequently asked questions and just some reminders that are usually sent in the initial emails and welcome emails, but are also just some good things to be reminded about. And your students will follow a timeline of a start date and end date as scheduled. Tuition-free students, your courses open actually this Friday, August 1st, and you have the ability to work through those until January 15th when those classes end. If you're tuition-based, you've received your own separate schedule depending on when you enrolled in those courses. A good thing to remember about attendance, especially if you're in tuition free, is that you need to be working on a weekly basis and submitting about 5 to 8% of your courses so that you can stay on track to complete on time. A minimum of 4 courses is what defines our full-time enrollment program. And so that's important to remember if you're wanting to request any kind of documentation that verifies that you are full-time enrolled. So it is a minimum of 4 courses. Vacation days. So that's a thing that you just have to plan ahead for. If you can submit enough work in your class to be ahead and on your progress report be in the green, then you will be able to have that time built into your schedule already, where if you need to take a few days off to travel, to work, or to whatever it is that you need to do. And then also if you're needing a verification of enrollment for something like driver's ed, it's important that you make sure that you are on track and in the green on your progress report, whether you are a full-time tuition-free student or a full-time tuition-based student, because that's how we verify that you are actually active in your courses. Course extensions are not offered in our program any longer. That changed a few years ago, kind of right after COVID. And so if courses are not fully complete by the end dates that are on that schedule, they are dropped. And if you are not complete with those classes, in order to access them again, you do have to repurchase them. And so if you're in the tuition-free program and you do not finish those, then you run the risk of being removed from tuition-free and having to go into tuition-based in order to access those classes again. So again, plan ahead and keep track of those deadlines. Students that are in our tuition-free program, if you don't meet that minimum weekly progress for maintaining attendance, you also need to be aware that there are some attendance or truancy processes that will be put in place to also be considered for removing from tuition-free and going into the tuition-based program. So again, just plan ahead to stay on track in those. Next slide, we have a few more frequently asked questions that we cover. Just remember that it's important that when you're working in your courses or completing your final exams, that you have strong and reliable, consistent internet, that you have a computer with microphone and camera and audio. And just remember that handheld devices are not recommended because they do not support a lot of the programs. So trying to use your cell phone or using an iPad are not ideal. And the Chromebook sometimes is not always ideal because it may not be able to load the extensions that are a part of courses. And so you can always refer to the student handbook to look at the recommendations for those things. So speaking of the handbook, so it's important that you do read through the Texas Tech K-12 student handbook that's located on our website. There is information there that is important for students and parents to read through so that you can make sure that you are well informed and also aware of the expectations and guidelines. It's located in our website, but the link is also always in focus in those accounts. All students with our program must have an ID in order to take exams that are proctored. So midterms that might be built into courses, final exams that are a part of all courses, and if you're participating in STAAR testing, you do need a student ID. So you can use your student ID that we issue, and we'll go over some examples here later in the presentation. Teachers can be reached via messages inside Canvas. So all of the coursework that's completed will be in Canvas this semester moving forward, and there is the ability to message teachers through there. It's important, though, to keep in mind, again, that there is a two-day business or business day window for teachers to be able to either respond to grading or to respond to those messages that are sent to them. Textbooks, we'll go over that in a little more detail. That information is provided there for you. It's also on our website, and it's sent in the welcome emails that advisors send out, but there will be a slide that will come up with more information about it. And then also you can always report issues that you might be having with technology or anything that is textbook related to the TTU K-12. ttu.edu web email address, or you can also reach out to your advisor. So we'll go on to the next slide that I'll provide a little more information before moving on to our next presenter. And that is just reminding everyone, parents and students, that with our asynchronous program, it's important that the parent or the designated learning coach is who is playing the most active role in the student's success and completion of courses through our program. There's not live instruction from our teachers, so it's so important for the parent or learning coach to establish routines and expectations at home to make sure that students are supported to complete their coursework, to make sure that they're on track and they're working on a regular basis. If there are issues, it's so important to make sure that you communicate immediately with teachers or advisors as needed. And then also just remember that attendance is important, especially for tuition free. And so it's so important that the parent or learning coach is monitoring that from their side as well. Okay, so I'll turn it over to our next advisor to continue.
Hi, my name is Brittany Perez. I will be going over navigating focus. I am the counselor for K through N and also our military liaison. And I'm also working with S through T until we get another advisor in place for transition. So if we will go to the next slide, we're going to talk about getting logged into focus. So you can log in from our K-12 website and use the focus link at the top or the link that was sent in your welcome email that was sent by your advisor. So make sure that you bookmark this link. This is going to be very important. This is where you'll sign in. This is where you'll gain access to Canvas. But as you get to this login page, you'll enter your student username, first name dot last name, and password you created to log in. If you do not know or you have forgotten your password, you'll click on that forgot password at the bottom and you will submit your email. It'll send you a reset email so that way you're able to log into your parent portal or student portal, whichever portal you're trying to get into. Next slide. So as we focus on the dashboard, both student and parent will have access to their own focus portal. If you review the information found underneath the district and school announcements, that orange tab that's right there, on a regular basis, it's important because any announcements, any frequently asked questions or updates, it's going to be all right there. I also want to point out, if you're a current student, you all know that we're transitioning from Blackboard to Canvas. So you may see that sign into Blackboard, but that will no longer be there. You will want to click on the Canvas underneath the Applications tab, okay? That's going to be very important as we move forward. And then as we're getting logged into focus, take the time to explore and familiarize yourself with all the tabs in the focus portal. I know it's a lot of information up front, but the more familiar you become with it, the more comfortable you get with it. So you must link your parent account to your student account to see the student's information, okay, such as their schedule, their grades, and their progress report. And it'll usually ask you for their student ID to connect to it. If you're not too for sure about the student ID, you can message your advisor, and we're happy to provide that information to you. You'll also want to utilize the progress report screen to monitor and track your weekly progress, okay? And this is the focus progress report, which is the next slide. This is really important. As you are working and looking at your students' progress report as the learning coach, you'll see this progress report in their portal. Sometimes it does take up to 24 to 48 hours to update. So if you turn in something right away, you'll need to wait for the teacher to grade it. And then usually within 24 to 48 hours, it will start to show up on their progress report. Okay, this is very important. So I would log in weekly and just check in with your student, make sure they're working on their classes. As you can see, if they're green, they're on track. If they're yellow, they're 1 to 10% behind. If they're orange, it's 10 to 20% behind. And if they're red, it's 20% or plus behind. So it's just important to continually check this throughout the semester, throughout the week. I always advise my parents, make sure you check it weekly. It's just important. Sometimes students, they feel a little bit embarrassed about telling their parents or their advisor that, hey, I don't understand the material, I need help. And so they avoid doing the class, and they're telling you that they're doing it. And then you go back and you see that they haven't been doing it. So always, always, always check in on their progress. Like I said, weekly, and then also reach out to us if you ever have any questions. We're here to help in any way that we can. We want to support you all. We want to make sure that you all feel comfortable. And also that if you have any questions, we're answering those questions and having that open communication. Communication is key to everything. So make sure you're sending that to us as needed. And so we're happy, and I'm happy to pass the presentation on to Mrs. Fierro.
Hello, everybody. I am Mrs. Fierro, Taylor Fierro. I am working with Alpha E through J, and then I have also temporarily stepped in and taken on a portion of Mrs. Rhodes' previous Alpha U through Z. If you guys have any questions specific to your advisor, I will just ask that you reach out to them directly. We'll be able to answer those questions in a little bit more specifics that way. But just getting onto Canvas in a little bit more detail, it is very new to us as well as to some of our students. Many of you guys have worked through Canvas before, but for our program, it is new. So one thing to keep in mind, as Mrs. Perez was saying, is you will find that Canvas application on the Focus portal, and you will always access your Canvas account through the portal. You won't be able to go to canvas.org.edu. You'll always want to access the application right here through your Focus portal. And it's always going to be listed right here under applications. You may see that application now, but when you select it, maybe it says your account has not been created. That application will not actually activate until the start date of your courses. It's not going to come up prior. You will not be able to access any of your courses prior. If you were pre-enrolled to start this Friday, August 1st, it will take some time for those to manually be activated. But we've been asking students to give it some time, maybe around 10 to 12 that day, those courses and that application should become active. So give it some time. It's not going to be immediate. There will be a lot of students that are transitioning over to becoming active. So give it some time. If you find that later on that afternoon, August 1st, if your courses are starting that day, that you still do not have access, reach out to your advisor. As for getting started in Canvas, once you get there, you'll be taken to your dashboard. This is going to be your main home screen. It's going to list all your courses, your calendar, your inbox. You're really going to want to pay attention to all of these different options here on the side. The dashboard will take you to your main screen that will list out all of the courses that you're currently enrolled in. The courses, of course, will be in more specifics. It'll have its own individualized set of information and instructions to review. And then the calendar is going to be a really good tool to use just to set up for planning, organizing, and setting any goals for yourself, because these courses are not going to be on any specific timeline. We have students joining the tuition paid program at random points throughout the year, so your calendar is not going to look the same as another student's. Use that option as a way to kind of organize what you want to complete each week, just to kind of stay on track. And then that inbox will allow you to message your teachers directly. It is a pretty easy navigation, but if you find that you're having trouble finding your teacher's name on there, just reach out to your advisor. But this is going to be the best way, and the only preferred way to reach out to your teachers. If you guys are using Focus, that response may not go through. Teachers are not always notified, so please always reach out to your teachers right here through the Canvas application under Inbox. And then once we move into the exact course content, you're going to find that each course will have this list of information here, different options for you to go to. Home will show any recent messages or updates from your teachers. And then that announcements tab is going to show more than likely those Zoom links for those open office hours, any messages of their absences and a potential substitute. The announcements will be more updated weekly, whereas that home tab is just going to be utilized for the entirety of the course. As for the syllabus, that will give you a quick description of the course. It'll have a breakdown of all of the assignments and exams that will be due throughout the semester. And then for modules, that will allow you to look at the course assignments, and that will be listed in order. So if you are trying to see, in what specific order should my assignments be completed for this course, if you open up that modules tab, it's going to list out all of your course assignments, exams, midterms, everything that will be due over the course of the semester, but it will list it out in order. So you can keep track and always go back to that to make sure that you're submitting assignments, everything within Unit 1 before you move on to Unit 2, for example. That discussion section will allow you to interact with your teachers and your other classmates that are within the same course. Those are only going to come into play as applicable because those are going to be specific assignments. You will use that occasionally throughout the course. Not every single course will have that discussion section, but just keep in mind that most of the discussions will require a student post and then a response to a fellow classmate. So always utilize that as well. And then as for grades, that will show all of your submitted, graded, and any status of maybe pending assignments that you are working on, as well as some feedback from the teachers. There will be a drop-down tab at the very top of that page that will allow you to kind of organize or adjust your assignments in any sort of order. For the most part, it's going to come up as modules. And with that, it's going to list all of the units, all of the exams, all of the discussions in chunks. If you switch that out to due date, it will then organize those assignments in order and you'll be able to see all of your graded, pending, all of those assignments in exact order. You'll also be able to utilize an option to kind of guess your grade. You'll be able to play around with it. If there's an assignment that you have yet to get to, it will give you the option to say, okay, if I get a 70% on this assignment or a 7 out of 10, what would that put my course grade to? So definitely mess around with that grades tab. It is very useful, and it is a very good way to keep track of all of your upcoming, pending, and graded assignments. And then that secure exam proctor, that is going to be the link that you'll want to use to make sure that you have the extension added to your computer. That is what we are going to use for all exams that are proctored. So make sure that you look into that exam proctor tab to ensure that you guys have that extension added to your computer. And then with Proctorio, all final exams have, or all courses have a final exam, but all of those courses are going to have a final exam A. And if that first attempt is failed, students do have the option to reattempt it one more time, but most courses are going to, counter and take the highest grade that was received. And some courses will have a midterm, even though this is just the first semester course or second semester course. Some courses will have a midterm and a final exam. And these will all require Proctorio. There are going to be some quizzes that do not, but if it's an exam or anything like that that requires you to go to Proctorio, you will need to make sure that you have all of your photo identification and things ready to go. All lessons and assignment checkpoints must be submitted and graded before the student is able to take your final exams. Your final will not come up, it will not populate until all assignments, all quizzes, everything that was within the coursework, all of that needs to be completed prior to that final exam populating. If your final exam is not coming up, go back and make sure that your discussions have been graded, all of your assignments have been submitted. You have to make sure that there is nothing remaining before that final exam will come up. A course will not be completed unless all assignments and final exams are submitted. If you have 5 assignments remaining and you still need to take that final exam, but the course expires, you're not going to receive any sort of grade for that course. It will just show as expired. Students must present their valid ID in order to take any sort of exam. The camera will ask you to present that so that way you can confirm your identity. And if you have any issues with the identification form, getting that submitted, reach out to your advisor so that way we can help you guys get those sooner than later. We don't want you waiting until the end of the semester to get that. A school ID, we will help you guys get if you have a valid driver's license, learner's permit, a passport, anything like that. Those are going to be acceptable versions or options for a photo identification card. Students are not allowed to use resources during exams unless they are provided or specified in the syllabus. So read through the instructions very carefully and make sure you're asking questions before you get into that exam, because it's not going to allow you to leave that browser once you enter the exam. Once you do get into Proctorio and you start that final exam process, Proctorio will prompt you to do a room scan, show that picture of your ID, and then show a full image of your face, and you will have to keep your full face in frame at all times. It is not a live setting. There's not a teacher on the other end of the camera watching you. It is going to be more so of a recording that the teacher then gets to go in and review to ensure that everything was done properly. And if you have any questions regarding like technical support, there is that resource proctor link there at the bottom. Proctorio will not access any of your personal files or documents. Once the exam is completed, it no longer has access to your information, and it never stores any academic information of its users. So the course instructors are going to be the only ones that are able to review those before they are able to finalize that assignment grade. And here are some examples of good photo IDs. Again, a passport is good if you have a driver's license or a learner's permit. If it has your photo on it, you will be able to use it as a photo ID. And I will pass it over to our final presenter. And like I said, if you have any specific questions, please reach out directly to your advisor and they'll be able to help you that way.
Hi, I'm Taylor Silvis, and I am the academic advisor for CD Alphabet. And so I'm ready for the next slide whenever you are. So first we'll talk about textbooks. And so with tuition-free students, our new K-5 curriculum does not require a textbook any longer. Now the reading materials are integrated into the course itself. For 6th through 12th grade, the digital textbooks and materials, if they are required for the course, are going to be sent out to the student email address that we have on file in the Focus portal within 1 to 2 weeks of the course is starting. It's important to monitor your email and your inbox and also check those spam and junk folders, just because sometimes those emails do fall into those folders. So just keep an eye out those first couple of weeks of classes and be on the lookout for something from our bookstore. And you can also go in and check the textbook requirements within the syllabus in each course in Canvas. Some courses are not going to require textbooks, and so if they are required, they'll be listed there in the syllabus. And if you run into any issues with textbook links, so if links aren't working or passwords aren't working, any issues like that, you can always reach out to the TTU K-12 at ttu.edu email, and we'll be able to assist you that way. For tuition-based students, what you'll do is you're going to go purchase the textbooks at the bookstore website. You'll go to, it's called the TTU K-12 bookstore, and you're going to select the courses that you are currently enrolled in, and you'll be able to purchase any materials that are required or optional. So if a book is required, it'll have it listed there as required, and if something is optional, it'll have that listed as well. So you don't have to do all the materials, just the ones that are required. And then to find and purchase the books for your courses, you're going to go again to that TTU bookstore link, and it's going to say, let's get started. The site will be TTU K-12, and you're going to choose either elementary, middle school, or high school, and select the A portion of all your courses. Again, not all courses are going to require books, and so they're not going to be listed there if that is the case. And then the books will be the same for both the A and B semester courses. So if you purchase the books for the A semester, you don't have to purchase again when you're enrolled in the B semester the following semester. Those are going to be the same textbook. And you can always verify if a book is needed by checking the course syllabus. Again, that's available in Canvas. So next we'll be talking about STAAR testing. As far as the requirements for our program, STAAR exams are required for all 3 through 8 tuition-free state-funded students. So we also do require the STAAR EOC or end of course exams for all high school diploma students, regardless of your tuition status. So again, if you are in the tuition-free 3 through 8, you'll be required to take the STAAR exams. And then if you are a high school student, regardless on if you're tuition-free or tuition-based, you will have to complete the end of course exams to earn a diploma. And so we do emphasize that if you do deliberately choose not to attend the scheduled STAAR or EOC exams without a valid reason, you may be subject to the risk of withdrawal from the program. So it's very important to be in contact with either your advisor or testing coordinator, both, if any emergencies or anything like that happen. That way we know what's going on, and you don't have to worry about potential withdrawal. And as far as when they are administered, STARs for grades 3 through 8 are given in the spring, and that's just once time a year for those grade levels, and that is going to happen May. And then the EOCs or end of course exams are given in the spring as well, April, May, in the summer as well, so June, July, and then fall or December. And you will be required to travel to these sites, and our testing coordinators are going to work to find the site closest to you. And so here is where we do have testing sites, and these are subject to be changed or updated. But at this time, we have sites in Abilene, San Angelo, the Woodlands, Irving, Austin, Junction, Midland, Odessa, Waco, San Antonio, El Paso, and Lubbock.
I will kind of touch on this one a little bit. We do have our Texas Tech K-12 Student Council Spirit Store. I'll work on getting that link sent here in the chat here in just a moment, but we have worked with, Student Council has worked with the marketing team to get this set up and going. So we're really excited that we're able to offer an actual Spirit Store for our students, family members, everybody all over. So if you find that you want some gear, K-12 gear, please check out that store. It will only be opened until August 31st, and then orders will be shipped out shortly after that. So you won't get your order within the first week if you're ordering this week or anything next week. So we're going to close that that purchase link off after August 31st, and then your order will be received shortly after that. So we're not going to reopen the store probably until next semester. This is our first launch, so I'll provide that link there in the chat in just a moment, but check that out, get your K-12 gear. Yeah, and we're really excited about it. I don't know if we want to stay on and answer any questions, but other than that, thank you so much. We're so excited to have you here. Again, if you have any questions specific to your situation, reach out to your advisor directly. Yeah, and we'll
Ms. Vero, could you go over information about it was in the chat about the student council, maybe let them know how they can apply to that, and then some of the activities that you've done with the group, because that's been really fun.
Yeah, so we have a link available on our website that allows you to submit your request to join Student Council. All we ask is that you're active working in your courses. Other than that, it's pretty simple to join. We have done quite a few different things lately. We did have our spring flip this previous March. That was the first time that we were able to kind of throw something as a Student Council in-person event. We have had many student council members show up to our Raiderpalooza event to help out there. They're able to get some volunteer hours in. And then, of course, our spirit store, we've worked really hard to kind of work with our marketing team to get everything set out goal-wise, so that way we can start actually making money and funding for any future events that we do. But it's a really fun time. I know a lot of the students have been able to come together outside of the program as well. It's really neat to even come to campus and kind of see what we have going on here. So it is very easy to check it out. I would just submit that request. It is open to 8th grade through 12th grade. So if you are interested in finding out more, feel free to submit that request, and then I will be in touch with you shortly after that. Yeah.
Thank you. Let me see if there was any other questions there. Several people had questions about the course progress percentage, and if you work ahead, is that notated? And yes, the team that manages that, in addition to your advisor, they do look at the time elapsed in the course and how much you're submitting. The primary thing is there does need to be regular activity in each course. And you have, as they showed you, you'll have access to be able to look at that. But if you have individual questions about that, please reach out to your advisor and they can walk you through that as well. And the video is going to be posted to our website. I think it's going to be under the resource tab, but if not, you can click around through those tabs at the top. And I think our marketing team will probably have it up there this week. And then we'll also be hosting this same session again in a couple of weeks as well for anyone else who wants to attend in this format. Anybody else have any questions? Or Ms. Vera, Ms. Silvas, Ms. Perez, do y'all have anything that y'all want to add in?
I did just want to kind of confirm, I did see a question regarding Pear Deck. We will not be utilizing Pear Deck this semester, so I would recommend reaching out directly to your advisor for more information on like tutoring options. But Pear Deck will not be a part of the coursework this semester.
Yeah, and I just wanted to say we're very excited for you all to join us and that you're here with us. We know that this transition can be a little bit hard, especially when you're coming from a brick and mortar school, what you're used to. This is a very different atmosphere. It's a very different culture. And so if you need help, don't hesitate to reach out. We are reaching out to our parents as quickly as possible. We do have an influx of emails coming in and phone calls. So please be patient during this time as we're working with new families and also current families. So just kind of keep that in mind as you're reaching out to us as advisors. Like I said, we will do our best to reach out to every single one of you in a timely manner. And also, once again, we're just excited for you all to join us. And if you have any specific questions, please make sure to send that to us. We'll answer those as well.
So, well, thank you so much for joining us today. Hopefully this is valuable information to you to get you off on the right start. And again, if you need anything, don't hesitate to reach out and we will address it as quickly as we can. And thank you for being here and welcome to the Texas Tech family. Have a great afternoon.
I see that y'all are still on. Am I able to ask a question?
Sure, go ahead.
I noticed that y'all had like fall, spring, summer semesters. Do y'all have winter semesters as well?
It's not really a winter semester. Our tuition-free students are set up with a fall and spring semester, kind of like a traditional campus. They're
Okay.
about 5 to 6 months long, just depending when that student actually gets started. Fall is usually August 1st to January, mid-January, and then spring is mid-January to about end of June. Tuition-based students kind of work in a unique timeline based on each individual student. Because they can start at any point in the school year. Some of our tuition-free students might have the ability, like the high school students in particular, might have the ability to do a class over the summer if they're on track. It's not like a full semester's worth of courses though, because it's just not possible to complete that many classes in that short of a time frame. But it's usually just kind of an individual situation depending on the student.
Okay, and then I saw somewhere on one of the slides that something about tuition-free students attending weekly, meaning, and then like there was 7 days in parentheses. Does that mean that my kid needs to sign on every single day, all 7 days a week?
No, they just need to work enough. Our website says a minimum of 3 days a week, because in that 3 days, they should be able to complete 5 to 8% work, depending on how much time they're committing to it. Some students may spread that out over like a traditional week of Monday through Friday, or they may flex that around and may do it like Tuesday through Sunday, because the courses are available any day of the week. It's just that they need to be submitting in that